Hello, hello. Good evening, good morning, wherever, whenever that you may be tuning in. This is Yonks with Solar EV, a project by Web3 Freedom Club, and this is now working group number 8 for our Hero X American-made challenges. And tonight we're going to be working on finalizing our submission for the American-made Solar Prize Round 7. This is the same project that we submitted for back in 2021 for Round 5. And I'm actually joined with Amy and Tyler. Good evening, everybody. And here's our agenda for tonight. And hopefully we're not going to go the full 2 hours here tonight. This is something that we found, like working on this type of a narrative and stuff like that works most effectively asynchronously offline. But did want to go through and talk about a few things here. First of all, this is something that I'm going to continue to be talking about. This Solar Prize Round 7. This is one of 3 Hero X contest prizes that we're going to be submitting for. Our next working group will be on Sunday, October the 1st. Well, the next one, besides the one tomorrow, where we're actually going to go through, upload the documents for our official submission. That's one of the things that we love here is radical transparency, and it goes into that ethos, we biddle in public. But anyway, we're still accepting new teammates for this project. Not going to go into details right now. This is something that we'll be talking a lot more about in October 2023 as we're leaning into this team submission here for Community Energy Innovation Prize. And here is our team for Solar EV, decentralized community solar, and EV charging for gig workers. But anyway, getting back to our agenda. So I'll come back to these items here because this is really where we're going to be doing most of the discussion here tonight. But wanted to talk about our calendar and some of the upcoming working groups that we've got. So let me bring open that window here. This is our Google Calendar for Web3 Freedom Club. And we're still in October today, October or September 20th. So we've got a let us meet for tomorrow. And let me just go ahead and see. Oh, my mouse is doing some funny things here. So let me see. I'll actually open up that let us meet here real quick because might as well probably go ahead and get this finalized because that's one of the things that need to put on the calendar because it is tomorrow. And this is just planning on doing a 30-minute time frame here tomorrow. And it looks like we only have one time slot that everybody is available for. And this is the 1 to 1:30 Mountain Time slot. So let me go ahead, get this scheduled here, save. And that's when we'll do our time slot for tomorrow to actually go through and upload the documents for our team submission. So I'll get the that added to our Google Calendar as well. So besides the one tomorrow, that's that short one that we just scheduled via Let Us Meet, we're going to start our normal time frame. And this is one of the things that I'm looking forward to. It'll make the coordination, well, it'll eliminate the coordination because we're just going to put it as a reoccurring. And I'm not actually going to add it as a reoccurring on this calendar because there is some process to go through to get the Zoom link and stuff like that scheduled. But the one here, this is where we'll finalize our other team submission. And I'll talk a little bit about one of the requirements that I sent everybody some emails on here shortly. And one of the other things that really wanting to do with this working group on October the 8th, and this is one of the things that I would encourage each of us to kind of take a look at. We have access. We started going through that a little bit on our office hours here this last week. On office hours number 4 was the B Corp process. We are planning to be a certified B Corp. And this is one of the things I'll go ahead and bring open because I actually have this window open. Because one of the things that we're doing for our Hero X's that we're submitting for JEDI: Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. And this is the page from bcorporation.net, which is the B Labs that handles the B Corp certification process. And this is one of the things that will make it easier for us to leverage best practices. And that's one of the things that we have and will continue to talk about, is that we are dedicated to implementing and refining best practices. And by being a part of a larger body of responsible organizations, other certified B Corps, this will make it a lot easier to utilize best practices within what we're doing here. So that's one of the things that we're going to focus on during our working group on the 11th, on working group number 11 on October the 8th. And the nice thing about this from a timing standpoint is the other project, the one that I just spoke about here for the Community Energy Innovation Prize, it's got an upcoming webinar here on October the 12th. And this is one that I would encourage everybody to register for. I'm going to throw this link in Zoom. This is one that I anticipate will probably be an hour and long, and it'll likely be recorded. They've had these recorded previously, but I thought that it would be more fun to participate live, and I don't know if they're going to be doing any types of questions. And we'll likely do, and this is something that I'll evaluate here when we get back in town. We've got a lot of travel here the last week of September and the first week of October, myself and Tyler. But we'll likely do an office hours over here, maybe not. And this is something that, again, we'll make a decision here for this working group. And then like I said, we'll be on track for maintaining here on a weekly basis our working group. And that's to continue to move things forward for solar EV, decentralized community solar and EV charging for gig workers. So anything, Tyler or Amy, do you want to chime in on any thoughts as far as our upcoming schedule of events?
Pretty exciting. We're this close to the finish line.
Yes and no. We finished line for submitting one of three, but the work is barely just starting. As far as getting a deadline, checking this box, I would absolutely agree. But one of the other things that I don't have on this calendar and won't likely put on the Web3 Freedom Club calendar is that we have started hosting some CryptoRado events literally up the street from Tyler and I for CryptoRado of North Denver. And that's one of the things that we'll be having on, I think the next one will be out of town on the 28th, and we've got that set to recur bi-weekly. So I think the next one would probably be on the 12th of October. So that's one of the things that I'm really looking forward to. And one of the things too that we'll absolutely be doing, we've talked a lot about hybrid events. We'll continue to talk a lot about hybrid events, especially when we're talking about solar EV and onboarding potential community solar subscribers, whether that's people within the community or gig workers, and the gig workers would likely be in the community as well. All right, well, getting back to our agenda. So talked about the calendar and the upcoming working groups. So let me go back to the teams that we're on. So the one that we've got that is coming up, this is not the one that we're going to be finalizing today and tomorrow. This is the one that we're going to be finalizing on October the 1st. And it has on the timeline for submission is October the 4th. And this is another one that's very well aligned, perfectly aligned, fast tracks the efforts of solar developers to learn and grow their operations to support multiple successful community solar projects. That's what we're wanting to do, is to support multiple community solar projects. So one of the things that I discovered here, and this is one of the things that now that we're clear, because when we started this working group conversations, and I can't even remember when our first one was, we had not decided that we were going to be submitting for this as well. And we weren't even focused on a community solar aspect. But that being said, that's where we're at now. And there is a requirement to complete this introduction to community solar course. And when I clicked on this link to register for the course, this is what the requirement, this is what I included in the email to everybody. So people that are, those of you on the Zoom and anybody on the team that's watching the replay, make sure that you go through and get this done. I just literally signed up for this myself today, so I don't have any expectations currently as far as the amount of effort to go through this. And one of the things too that I would really encourage everybody, going back to the resources, become familiar with the official rules. And then also there's, and I can't remember, I don't believe that I've watched the informational webinar. One of the things that I did start going through here today was the teaming database. And I'm not going to open this up in the window, but I did start sending out a couple emails to some people that may be a good fit and or a potential collaboration partner with on this, so that we can work on finding the right partners to make our project come to fruition. So, and I'm going to go real quick. We're looking here at the resources for Community Power Accelerator Round 2. I'm going to go real quick at the Community Energy Innovation and look at the resources for this one as well. So this is another one that I would encourage everybody to really become familiar with. And I'm not sure what the track template looks like. I'll take a look at that offline. But there's a lot of power connector resources here, and this is one of the things that we should be working to reach out. And these people are incentivized to help us, and that's one of the things that we really, at least from my perspective, didn't do a great job here for Solar Prize Round 7. And some of that just has to do with the pivot from quad co-op into solar EV and the community solar aspect. Do you, Amy or Tyler, want to chime in on any of the resources as far as stuff that you've looked at here for these particular contests?
No, I don't have anything for these. I've been working on the I've been working on filling everything out, but I don't have any feedback on these resources.
Yeah, so let's see if we can do as far as the ones for the community prize, community energy prize, because the community power accelerator, that one's where we've got also a limited window of time, but we have a really long stretch of time on this. This prize was literally just made public like super recently here, like looking at the timeline, date launched August 29th. So not even a month ago. So this is the one that will have the most opportunity. And there's probably, like, when you look at the teams for this as well, I think that there's substantially more teams here. And this is another thing that I would really encourage us to get better at, is going through here, because there may be some people that are wanting to do a project, and the opportunity to work with us and collaborate with us is a very real opportunity. So, and I don't know if there's any negative aspects as far as facilitating and reaching out and fostering conversations within the community framework on that sort of thing, but something to think about. And we'll be talking more about this one. So moving on, talked about all of these, talked about the review the resources. So this is where we're going to get into most of what we're wanting to spend here this evening on, is going through and reviewing, and this is what we're actually going to be PDFing here for the ready contest submission. And one of the things that is not super clear to me, and I can't remember from the last one that we submitted, do we have the opportunity, Tyler, do you, or Amy, do you remember if we can submit multiple files, or does it have to be just one single PDF?
If you look in the requirements, it says you can submit up to 5 images and you can submit letters and whatever. So I took that to mean multiple files, but if you want to merge everything into one file, I mean, I think it probably
I would, yeah, I would rather not if we don't have to. And that's another reason that we're kind of allocating the additional working group, is so that we can kind of get some feedback and then have the final opportunity between now and our scheduled time tomorrow to really like finalize and come to a consensus. Hey, this is what we're standing. We're putting our name on all of this. So anyway, I'm going to just roll with, I think that we can upload multiple different files in support of the document. But and the kind of the thoughts on this is that there's quite a bit of extra stuff in here. And just a side note that I did white out the team information here since it had some phone numbers. Didn't want that live streaming. So help me remember, Tyler, to remove the whiteout. So like right now, partners and American Made Network, this is one of the things I was talking about on the resources and the connectors that we did not really utilize for this contest submission. And that's one of the things that I would really encourage us to get better at, because like when we're operating in a known space like community solar, this isn't a question mark as far as regulations and stuff like that. And anyway, so are you completing in the Jedi contest? I don't know if this is just a yes. And then here's the link to the video. I'm not going to go through that here. Already shared that with everybody. So cover page, and this is the kind of thing, I don't know if we should just cut this out like when we're submitting our final PDF. I'm thinking that we probably should. But anyway, so this is what I was wanting to go through. And first of all, I want to really give Tyler some public kudos here, because she's the one that's done most of the efforts on not only the white paper, but taking what we had in the white paper, that was most of her efforts, and then transposing it here. So you get an A+ for the efforts on really getting the stuff brought over here. So thank you for all the stuff that you've done here, Tyler, on this.
thanks, I appreciate it.
So I'm just going to go through here and read this. Everybody can listen and see how this sounds. The problem, there isn't a network of DC fast, and I'm going to just make this is not. There is not a network of DC fast level 3 EV chargers that are renewable energy powered. Or should I just leave in the solar? Or make it solar powered? There's currently not a network of DC fast level 3 EV chargers that are solar powered. And I'm going to just solar farms that currently exist only feed the solar farms that currently exist are normally located remotely and feed into the grid. Offsite. I don't know if that's additionally, there are thousands of parking lots across the country that are within 1 mile of US DOT alternative fuel corridors and would be an ideal location. Location to install covered parking, to install canopy, to install solar panels deployed as a parking lot canopy with smart battery storage. Let's make this lowercase. And DC fast EV charger. They're currently I don't know if we should include this because Electrify America does have a solar grid that's coming online that is it's a centralized solution.
Well, the point of this was to say, yes, there are solar farms feeding the grid. Yes, there are chargers. Yes, there are these different places, but none of them involve battery packs. None of them power on site. And yeah.
I think we don't have to mention the solar farms. We just have to emphasize that we power on site.
So just
That's
take out this
wordy.
line, Amy.
That's too wordy already. Yeah.
I'm fine with that. Solar farms that currently exist. Solar farms that currently exist are located remotely and must rely upon the electric
It's
grid
not even
for-
necessary to say that because those solar farms that provide the solar grid does not necessarily affect the EV chargers. It's not
Well,
related.
that's not entirely true, Amy, because Electrify America, one of the largest DC fast EV charging networks, does have like a ginormous solar farm that's specifically being built for their EV charging network. But it is reliant upon transmission across the electric grid. And it doesn't add any resiliency to the electric grid. That's the big and
which state is that? Because forming a nationwide electric grid for that purpose is also costly. But
yeah, I mean they Electrify America, Volkswagen had to by court order invest $2 billion in zero emissions infrastructure. So, and Volkswagen has been spending a lot of money on their, so here's the Solar Glow one. It's a 75 megawatt offsite facility. So this is this is a press release on Electrify America's website. And the main thing is that it's still reliant upon transmission of the energy grid, and it doesn't add any resiliency. And I don't know if it's a normal solution that these network like Tesla and it's probably case by case, just depending on what the charging location is for Tesla. But
the way I understood solar, they hook up on the local electric grid, and I don't know if they create their own grid, but I will dive into that.
Yeah, so and this is one of the things here too. Electrify America's Solar Grow is the result of a 15-year virtual power purchase agreement with developer TerraGen. So whatever TerraGen is, they're facilitating it through a 15-year virtual power purchase agreement. So that's one of the things that's currently outside of the scope of what that looks like as far as these offsite. And that's the thing that's so amazing, I think, about this particular model, is that we're actually increasing the local resiliency of the grid by creating these distributed energy resources. And I don't know if that's something, and maybe I should put, most solar farms that currently exist are located remotely and must rely upon the electric grid for energy transmission. So with solar EV, and this is a problem, not the solution. Additionally, I'm going to read this again. Most solar farms that currently exist are located remotely and must rely upon the electric grid for energy transmission. Additionally, there are thousands of parking lots across the country that are within 1 mile of US DOT alternative fuel corridors and would be an ideal location to install solar panels deployed. And I'm going to put in here, and would be an ideal location to install a distributed energy resource. I don't know. I'm going to take this line out here too, because I think that this is getting into a solution and not the problem.
Okay.
Do we have this in the solution, Tyler?
Yeah, there's references to it. It's in the next section, or you can just cut it and paste it in the question 2 as a placeholder. But I think it's in there.
And this is one of the things too, that we have a 2,500 word limit, and I think it's wanting us to summarize it. Go ahead, Tyler.
I copied all the answers that I wrote, and then your part in section 4, and it was only around 1,300 words, so we got plenty of room.
Plenty of runway. Okay. So the supply of solar isn't physically generated. The electricity generated from solar isn't generated and is not generated in the same location as the demand for solar. The electricity from solar farms is not generated in the same location as the demand for solar. Where the supply of most solar is single family homes, rooftop rooftop solar businesses and solar farms where the demand for DC fast EV charging is. Go ahead, Amy.
I think the main problem we're solving here is also if there is damage to the grid, that we are not affected by it because our solar is local and on site. While if it's attached to the grid, if there's any natural disaster, that will affect the supply.
That's absolutely true. And how should we put that in? Furthermore, off-site remote solar farms do not increase resiliency when outages occur. Increase grid resiliency. Does that suffice, you think, Amy?
You can write electric grid resiliency because they are attached to the electric grid. And you should say does not decrease, not increase.
Right here.
Oh, well, yeah. Yeah, let me see. Do not decrease. Yeah, I think it should say decrease. Oh, no, you're right. Increase because you're wanting the resiliency. Okay. Do we need to include that paragraph that says most people who own a large enough home to generate, is that applicable in our parking lot project?
I think that Tyler's just talking about, like, generally speaking, how EVs, it is kind of wordy, and I think that this is coming from a lens, and I don't know if you wanted to speak on it, Tyler. We do, like she said, we have a lot of extra words available. We're not getting close to running out of words for our submission.
Well, so
But the-
some of this, yeah, Amy, I agree, it is a little wordy. One of the things that I felt like we got feedback on our prior submission was stuff wasn't spelled out enough, it wasn't specific enough, it was too general. And so one of the things I'm trying to really make the case, what we're doing, why we're doing it, so we don't get that feedback again. If you think it's too much, I mean, we can take it out, but that was the reason.
Is this one that we want to sleep on here?
Yeah, I was just thinking that it's not connected, but it might be. Who knows?
Well, what the section was um the two options you have to charge are you either go to a public charger or you charge at home. Like that, you really don't have any other options. The reason why solar powered EV generation, so most people who own EVs who have solar at their house charge at home because it's great, but you're not a gig worker. So it's sort of this Venn diagram of pick two out of three, you charge or you can have solar or you're a gig worker.
Oh, okay.
And we're talking solar infrastructure, right? Or just solar, or are we talking charging infrastructure?
Yeah, charging infrastructure. Actually, no, both. The solar farms are not community owned, they're owned by companies or maybe the government. And private charging infrastructure, solar farms, and private charging infrastructure, none of it is community owned. Like if you wanted to buy a section of Charge Point or Electrify America or a solar farm, you can't. So that was kind of the point on that.
So this may be an opportunity here because I was just looking through suggested content that you provide, and I was just looking at this last line here. This may be a good opportunity to include my own personal story, you know, with the vast amount of driving that I've done across multiple metro areas, and put some of that in the cover letter. But it may be good to provide that here because like because it is evidence based, you know, it's based on personal experience, you know, because as a gig worker.
Do we have the data of how many gig workers have EV cars? I mean, electric vehicle cars?
No, and I think that that's the big opportunity here too, Amy, is that we're expecting, and I don't know if Tyler put that forward, but having a community-owned EV charging solution that's less expensive may influence the adoption. And then also, and this is one of the things that I didn't include, and Yeah, we don't have those statistics, and that would be something that I think that we should absolutely work on obtaining, not necessarily for our submission for October, but the one for February. And just to kind of like think out loud here, this is something that I have spoken about, and will continue to, because I think it's a great opportunity, is using a quiz. Like Tyler and I were joking about like the Excel energy bill quiz, because Excel is the incumbent energy company here in Colorado. Another quiz that we could potentially create is an EV quiz for gig workers. And the thing that, like, when it's not just the quiz, but that's one of the things that we could potentially invite people to a webinar, like, hey, guaranteed savings with, and that's one of the things I think that you can potentially get flagged for on Facebook. But the invite people to a webinar to talk about our community solar program that we're building here. But then also, just like you said, Amy, is collect some data. And I don't know if there's any solid data right now as far as how many drivers. I do know for a fact that Denver, and I don't know what the top markets that Uber and Lyft and Hertz are deploying Tesla rental vehicles to drivers, but there are a large amount of Tesla vehicles on the road that are rented by drivers here for $400 a week. So anyway, yeah, getting some more data. And the thing is we're not gonna get the data. All that we can do is work with what we've got, and then potentially get more refinement for our next submission, and then even more refinement for the one after that. So I was looking at this paragraph here, and this seems to be more of a solution too, but I'll see how this flows here. Our model is immediately viable and can be implemented as fast as we can get the construction done, get the funding and construction. We have identified several strategic sites. And again, I'll take a look and see what we've got here as far as the solution. The most important part of the solution is that it's community owned, has a clear use case and market, and is a shovel-ready project. Gig workers put more miles per year on their cars than most drivers, and building DC fast charging that they can own a piece of will incentivize them to both switch to electric and use it more frequently. Switch to EVs and use it. I don't get this here.
And use the charging versus charge point or versus wherever. Charge their cars at our chargers. And use these chargers more frequently.
I'm wondering here, and I was just taking a step back to this line here. Is there a statistic that we could find for like how many miles? Because like, talking about like doing a 3x or a 4x as far as quantity miles really, I think, would paint a more clear picture. And hey, Double D, welcome. Glad that you joined us here. We're just going through the submission template here that we've been working on as far as the final narrative.
So as far as these go, the statistic from Lyft is, or that's on Lyft.com, is 140 to 200 miles a day, while the average American only does about 35 miles a day. So 5 to 7x versus just a regular driver.
And yeah, I think that that's probably something that we should substantiate with some numbers there. I think that that's the kind of numbers that would and I don't so going to this next paragraph, Uber and Lyft are both Uber, Lyft, and Hertz are all acquiring EVs drivers on for platform gig workers for their platform. I don't even know if we need this line. I don't know if it necessarily adds anything to the community solar or the EV charging aspect.
Yeah, I just wanted to put in there that the demand for solar, or excuse me, the demand for EV is going to continue to grow. Uber has about 5% of all miles total driven in EVs in the US, but in London it's like 20%. So just this whole idea that gig workers in general are driving at least 5 times more miles than regular drivers. And the industry is pushing them toward EVs, which means that number is just going to go way up. So if you don't think it's important, I can take it out, but that's why it's in there. The other part of this is we're trying to make the case that gig workers are underserved, and this is another way that they're underserved. And yeah.
True, but I don't know. I mean, we've got a whole separate submission, a 500-page submission for the Jedi on how gig workers are underserved.
500 page or words?
500 words.
I was like, okay, that's a book.
Yeah, that's like more. That's a book and a half. Yeah, I'm gonna just take this out. I'm not jiving with this. I love the sentiment, but
maybe we could write that 500-page book here on the live stream. Do an all-nighter.
No.
Yeah, sorry. Is the 25% youngs? Please can you go back to this before solution? Is the 25% below the market rates for the community subscriber, talking about reducing of the price for the subscribers? Like
I think, Jason, you should take out the 25% because we don't know if that's gonna be the number or not. It's just what we'll provide a below market rate.
No, that is, I think, something that we can absolutely provide, Tyler.
Okay.
So the thing is that there's normally a pretty substantial premium, and just to like provide some cost dynamics, like for us to charge most of the time here at the house, it's only 10 cents a kilowatt. But during peak time at DC Fast, it's 40 cents. So four times the cost. So like Tyler, what we're talking about here, instead of being like 40 cents, we would be 30 cents.
I think having the percentage changing over time will be good, based on maybe the 25% might be a way of marketing for the first time, just for the first time. Then over time it might reduce, or you know.
I'm not following what you're talking about reducing over time.
I'm talking about the percentage. Like when Tana said it might reduce over time, or we don't know yet if it's going to be 25% for the community subscribers.
So what this is too, Tyler, is when I'm talking about the community solar subscriber, I don't even know if most of the people that are going to be DC fast charging, these are the people that will be like our customers offsite as well. So like here because we're not wanting to get very many solar subscribers, because we're wanting most of the power to be consumed through DC fast charging. But yeah, this is absolutely the target price for the reduction, because most DC fast charging is like 2x more than normal power anyway.
Oh, okay.
And this is the thing about this, is that like this narrative isn't locking us into like we're not committed contractually with anything within this narrative. This is absolutely our target, and that's one of the things that I was wanting to put in our one pager, and I didn't get any chance or work on the one pager between our last office hours in the working group. That's something that's going to work on tonight. But I mean, we can take this out if anybody is opposed to it, but I really think that
If you wanted, I mean, if you think it's really important to leave it in there, just, yeah, I mean, whatever you want.
and it's the thing that's, I mean, it's a pretty varying market rate too. It's not even like a flat market rate, and it's pretty shocking how much that just even with Tesla superchargers, it can vary a lot across the metro area. And I don't know if there's just that much variation with what Tesla has negotiated with Excel. It has to be, because most of these superchargers that I've been charging at are powered by Excel. So it just must be that whenever Tesla brought on that supercharger, that they negotiated those particular rates when they did. So anyway, so this is the solution. Fill in the tech specs. Was this something that you added, Tyler, or why is this?
Because if you scroll up a little bit to the the evaluation criteria, it says put them in there. Describe your innovation as much detail as possible. Your unique value proposition, proof of concept, sufficient technical detail. Solution represents based on valid technical foundations. So I don't know how you want to interpret that, but that was more of a placeholder of how we're going to answer that question.
And this may be an opportunity that House bill that I sent you is, I think, even more of a reason why Colorado is so strategic, because from the looks of it, part of the reason that we're able to do what we're wanting to do in Colorado is because of the legislation that the House passed, the Colorado House, back in 2010. Do you think that this would be a good place to include that, Tyler?
Yeah, number 4 already has that first House bill about the charging prohibitions. So if you want to put that in there too, or even renumber that, start a separate section on laws that are in line.
Yeah, because I think that one's even more relative to community solar than probably any of these, because that's really the one that's set in motion the allowance for doing community solar here, even though that Colorado is still an incumbent monopolized state, but with the community solar provision does provide some community solar as an alternate option. I'll do that offline. I think that this is all some good stuff as far as the just to substantiate from a business model standpoint. So the team stuff, it's just looking at the advisors and partners. Team stuff. This is where everybody can review the stuff that Tyler's got in here offline. So this was some details that I put in here for the roadmap, the plan. So I'm going to just go through these points here. We already talked about this, the Community Power Accelerator team submission for October the 4th. This is talked about the working group for becoming a certified B Corp. Here's the date to finalize the application to become a pending B Corp. This is a date to finalize our community solar power purchase agreements. And this is something that we should be able to get some templates for. I think the biggest differentiator with what we're doing is that our power purchase agreement needs to be structured that the power priority goes to the EV charger, and that's where we're going to be getting the most for. And it'll be interesting to see like how that we can use, because I think most of the time people are normally using power purchase agreements to capitalize and fund their project. And this will be interesting to see, because one of the other things about our project is doing our regulation. But anyway, you've got the most experience, and this is also where I wrote in some of these other cost components, because this is one of the things that really expecting that we can deliver without a problem. This is a 90% cost component for normal business and residential customers. And then this is where we can really drive the JEDI component with the LMI, low moderate income residential customers, and they will receive power on their power purchase agreement at 80% cost. So do you wanted to chime in on any of this, Amy? That you've got, I think, the most experience on the team with PPAs.
So are you saying that each of the members will have to sign a PPA? Is that the goal?
Only a residence or a business. The third
Okay.
person, gig workers, we're not expecting gig workers to sign any power purchase agreement for the parking lot model. And that's all that we're putting into scope here. Now, when we talk about, and not for solar price round 7 for sure, probably not for community power accelerator round 2, but community energy innovation, by then I'm really expecting that we could have brought in potentially our single family house into scope, because there's a good mix. And go ahead, Amy, I see you've got your mic open still.
No, go ahead.
Okay,
I was
cool.
gonna turn it off.
Fair enough. So yeah, for not expecting to do any power purchase agreement for the gig workers at a parking lot scenario. So I'm really hoping that we can finalize. This is like probably the most important milestone in the entire thing, is really getting a letter of commitment from a parking lot to build this out. And this is one of the things, I don't know if this is a realistic aspect or not. And I don't know if any of these other things really hinge on the success like this one. I think that we can start onboarding our subscribers, because we need to have 10 subscribers here with a PPA to kick off the where is it at here? And I don't even know if I've got it on here. Oh, right here. Yeah, this one. Submit solar EV. So Excel has a requirement that we need to have 10 subscribers. So this is an important milestone that can drive this. And this is kind of a window. They only have, and let me just go ahead and open this up in another tab here real quick. So for 2023, they only had a proposal window of March to May. So that's a pretty important time frame. So, and whether we need to let this slide or not, like, I'm hoping that we can, but that might not be realistic either. And I don't know if we should change it, or what are your thoughts, Tyler, Amy?
This roadmap is part of this solar 7 project, or you're including this for the whole thing?
So no, let's just rewind here to
You might wanna just save that for the community solar project, or
which one?
I scroll down. I'm talking about the December 31 household with signed PPA, because we are doing parking lots for this one, right?
We are, but going back here to the requirements is that I don't even know if somebody's done, like, I don't know if this model has actually gone through the process. And like when we're looking over here, there's the developer resources. I'm not sure where it's at, but we have to have 10 customers to kind of start this process.
Maybe you can reword it, instead of household, let's say businesses or whatever, so that people don't get too confused.
Well,
I mean, just for this EV project, just for this parking lot.
The LMI here, Amy, is to drive into the Jedi component. And I mean, I think that it would probably be easier to get 10 LMI households on compared to 10 businesses. And like my expectation is like when you're talking about power requirements, 10 LMI households will have substantially less energy requirements than 10 businesses, because I'm really expecting most of the energy in this equation to go towards the EV charging. And until we get these online and like churning out, I don't know if we're going to get any type of numbers, because at the end of the day, I don't even know how many, I don't know if there's any strong enough business cases where people have battery storage where they're doing DC fast charging. So, but I mean, and the thing about this, again, I think that this is a very reasonable number. And I think that like, and I don't know what the process will look like as far as getting the PPAs signed with these households. I don't have enough experience as far as the paperwork and stuff like that required. But 10 doesn't sound like very many to me.
That's why I asked you if the PPA was going to be signed by the user, because they're the one actually in the parking lot scenario. They're the ones actually who's going to pay for the solar, not unless there is a shared revenue with the owners of the the building that you are going to create the solar EV charging mechanism. We are kind of like in a different scenario. That's why I'm trying to
I understand that, but this 10 is a requirement for this community solar program with Excel Energy.
Okay.
So we need 10 PPAs
so in order
to start this process with Excel.
Okay.
So like and that was the main like over here at the resources for developers, like let's see if right here, have at least 10 subscribers was a requirement for, it's one of the bullet points here. And I would rather have the 10 subscribers or the 10, because the probability will probably be generating extra energy, especially with the fact that we can store energy in the battery. And again, I don't know if there's enough scenarios of this. Now, the goal would be to, sell more energy, because that's the great thing about like having this model is that we can pull energy from the grid to fill up our battery, and we get to charge more. Even when we're charging 25% less than the market rate, that's still at a premium of what we're going to be getting the energy from the grid for. So, and those numbers will become a lot more apparent and clear when we get further through the process, as far as really like throwing in some hypotheticals in like a financial modeling. So yeah, the 10, Amy, was the underlying requirement for this milestone here with the incumbent energy company. So the other major milestone, submitting the solar, and I think that this is actually February the 2nd. And I don't know if that makes that big of a difference. And this was another date here. It might not be, but I'll take a look. So the other major milestone in February is we've still got our security token offering shortlisted for this, because really the goal while we're finalizing our project submission here is that we're also in tandem creating all the collateral for doing our regulation crowdfunding offering. And then here in March, I already talked about this, where we have to go through the process of with Excel, the incumbent energy, to become a community solar. And then the next one put was the ribbon cutting ceremony, and then put shortlist in the next 3 states, and then doing a security token offering about the same time in 2025. So anyway, that's what I put for a roadmap based upon what I think are some very achievable stuff. How is that setting? Tyler already looked at this earlier. Did you want to chime in anything right now, Tyler?
I think it's a good game plan. I think some of the stuff is going to happen slower than we think, and some of it might happen faster, but we're not going to know. I think those are good milestones to aim for.
How are you feeling with these dates, with this roadmap here, Amy?
I was just thinking, the roadmap that they're asking is the roadmap of our project as a whole, or just the roadmap of how we will execute the solar EV charging
So
project?
let's actually just rewind here.
It looks like, Amy, they're saying, if we give you this money, what are you going to do with it? And again, it's not a grant or something else that says you have to check back in every month and report back and whatever. But I think they just want to make sure that they're giving money to real projects that are actually viable, and that's what we want to demonstrate.
Yeah, and just to go back here, as far as like the suggested content you provide in the evaluation criteria, let me make this a little bit smaller so we get it all on the same screen here. So this is one of the things that we don't have in here, is a high level budget and plan to meet your goals. And I don't know how much that I can really put some, besides just a big swag, on some stuff, because like one of the components that I don't really know for is this goal right here of what the regulation crowdfunding offering will be. And that's one of the things that like we haven't had those conversations yet. So I don't know how much that we could put together a very, very good budget. We did put in, I think, a plan to meet the goals. And this is, again, going back, and we already talked about leveraging program resources. This is something that we need to get better at. And, you know, the better that we can get at leveraging the resources, hopefully it will actually help to make the plan go forward. But there's a lot of stuff that we can do, especially between now and February, as far as getting letters of support and commitment from key stakeholders. So anyway, let me go back here and leave it on this. And I don't know if this is something that we want to just take and then sleep on and then see, because like that's the other great thing about the time frame here, is that whatever we're submitting here for Solar Prize Round 7, we'll get feedback before the Community Energy Innovation coming up in February. The same with the Community Power Accelerator. is that we'll be able to get feedback from the submission on that prior to our community energy innovation submission in February. So what else did we have in here, Tyler? This, I think, was just supplemental information here. And this is one of the things that still wasn't completely clear previously. And I think that this is probably more geared towards the manufacturing stuff, the technical assistance request.
Yeah, I think it was too, because a lot of the stuff they were referencing were what resources do you need from the National Renewable Energy Lab, and if you're building photovoltaics and you're building, you're building a new form of solar panels and stuff like that. I think that's the teams that this thing's aimed at, I'm guessing.
I was just looking here. Please do not submit multi-page letters. All right. Well, it's getting late here. I don't know if we really need to talk about anything else. One thing that we did get, by the way, Double D, we did get the time frame scheduled for the Let Us Meet, and let me just go back here real quick for tomorrow, and it's at 1:30 Mountain Time, 3:30, or no, 1 Mountain, 3 Eastern. So that's when we'll be doing the that's when everybody was available. That was the only time that the 4 people that responded was available tomorrow, and that's when we'll actually be going through and uploading the stuff. Anything that you've got or people that's got, feel free to edit this offline here. Is there anything else that we wanted to talk about here tonight before we bring this to a wrap, Amy or Tyler or Double D?
Yeah, just Double D real quick. I owe you an apology. I told you I would get you the 1-pager like a week ago, and I didn't, so I'm sorry I didn't get that done. Jason, if you still want to map out what you want on the 1-pager or that PowerPoint slide, however you want to do that, Double D can design it.
Yeah, I guess I can go over here and talk about it. I didn't get anything created on it. I think it's this one right here. Yeah, I didn't get anything else created. Like one of the things I was talking about was doing a let's see if I can get this guy's lined up here. It's like, let's see. This is another box. Stack in the figures. Guaranteed. Electricity savings percent. Still business. I can't remember what I wanted in this other quadrant. Like what is
why a co-op or um why gig workers or
energy community, opportunity zone. I mean, to me, this tells more than this as far as the stuff. But that's me. But what do you think, Amy? Or well, we lost Amy. So,
well, you were talking about 25% before. Where did the 10 and 20% go?
do what?
Guaranteed electricity savings. You were talking about 25% before in the white paper. Now this is 10 to 20%.
Um, how's that? So I was just going through, Amy, like this one pager, and this could be made to look a lot better, I think. But this was kind of what. Let me just make this smaller. 12.
I really don't understand the percentage here. 90% for resident saving.
So instead of paying like your normal bill would be 100%. So instead of paying 100% to get your energy, you would pay 90% with community solar. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So instead of $10, it'd be $9 at 90%. Um, did we want to do gig workers in this other quadrant, Tyler? Do you have your mute button on?
Oh yeah, sorry. Think about gig
I,
workers or
I think I think I heard you talking upstairs, and I saw you have your mute on. So anyway, go ahead, Tyler.
that's fabulous. The something about gig workers or the co-op or who the members are, why we're targeting benefits to the community. The kickers, I think, is kind of the wrong word. I'd put the other aligned incentives or something like that. I don't know.
Stacking the green energy credits, green energy incentives.
Yeah.
Um, and we were talking gig workers here.
I think for the kickers, I sent you the information on some of the grants available. You can add that there.
So the main thing here, Amy, wanting to find out, do you like this format of a one pager better than this one? And I think that making, and this is where somebody with like some ability to like make it a lot more visually appealing. I mean, it could be
Can
made.
you post the other one again and let me just see what it contains?
And I think that this was kind of similar to the one that we used before, wasn't it, Tyler?
This was one that was another team's format that I changed all the wording on just for the word count. This was not my design. I was looking for my design and I actually couldn't find the one that I did design. So I
I
need to
think
go.
I like the colored one. Forgive me.
No,
But I
I'm
like
not
this
gonna.
in color.
I'm not going to disagree, and that was one of the things that I started doing here, Amy, was like just a little bit of coloring even on these boxes. I think would go a long way to, and you know, like maybe make this one a
Yeah,
yellow.
I'm pretty annoyed why I can't find my design because I actually like the design that I made last time better than this one, but I can't find it.
And a lot could be done to make the colors, because yeah, the this one is not visually appealing, but I think as far as having some worthwhile stuff in here, and it doesn't even have to be like, you know, like and this was one of the things that I spoke about, like even having like a little visuals here instead of saying a solar parking lot and the battery, maybe just like some images or something. But yeah.
Yeah, for me, I think the second one, let's say I'm someone just coming in for the first time and I see this, I'll get kind of confused with this, not really understanding what it means. But for the second one, I think it stated like problem solution, and that's more easier to read and understand. You get. Am I
Yeah,
right?
because this would be the what, this would be the how, this would be the who, and this would be like, so but anyway, I'm running out of gas here tonight, and we've got this is something that I'm gonna continue to work on, and if some other people want to work on this between now and tomorrow afternoon, we've got most of the stuff in here, and this is something that, like, you know, it doesn't have to be perfect. It's just basically, you know, what conveying what we're creating, and like I think the biggest thing is because the lens that they're looking for, and I think that this is more geared for like a manufacturing track, because like they're talking about a 3 to 5 year commercial viability, and we're talking about doing a security token offering here in February, less than 6 months from now. So we're wanting to be commercially viable in less than a year, and we're wanting to raise capital in less than 6 months. So, and that's something that I feel really confident with the team that we have, and then the opportunity to bring in some more people into the team between now and then. So looking forward to building. Does anybody want to chime in some final thoughts here before we bring it for a close tonight on tonight's working group?
Thanks for all your hard work, Jason.
Good night. Good night.
Can I get
Sorry.
access to the slide?
What's
What's
that, Double D?
I said, can I get access to this?
So you should have. I'll make sure that it's saved in the right place, and everybody should have access. I'll send out some links, but go ahead, Tyler.
Double D, check in your Google Drive under shared with me, and there should be a folder that says
This right here, Solar Prize Round 7.
Yeah, you should have that folder, and just look for the PowerPoint file. All of our files, all of our team files are in that folder. You should be on the share on that.
I don't see the
Oh
one
yeah,
pager.
move the PowerPoint into that folder.
All right, it's 6 a.m. Yeah, I need to go.
So does that mean that it's late or early? And appreciate you. Good morning. Good morning. Yes. Yes. Well, thank you for hopping on early, and thank you. Oh, I'll also create a media folder, an images folder that you can use to upload, because that's one of the things that I would like to add, like here on the submission, like here on the front page. And let me change it to a mode viewing. Let me change it to a print layout. Let's see, where's that? Show print layout. So like here on this front page, like this would be a great place to put like the banner that you created, Double D. But I'll create a folder and get that shared so that you can upload the images that you've created there, because I was having problem downloading them or whatever from the LinkedIn chat. So I'll get that shared or created and shared over with you, Double D.
All right. Good night, everybody.
Yep. Have a good night. Thanks everybody for your work on this, and looking forward. We're close to getting this team submission, but we have a lot more work to do, and love the efforts that we are collaborating on here together. But good night, everybody.